No. Okay. I'd like to call the August meeting to order. Salute the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance
Pledge
To
allegiance
the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's get started this evening with the approval of the prior town board meeting minutes.
So moved.
I had a minor suggestion or comment, which I think Mary might have already corrected. There's just a with was written where that was intended.
She's got the with and without changed. Was that the second paragraph?
The second paragraph, what it said was that supervisor said that there were several requests about being able to have internet, and it should say without the telephone, and I had with.
Yeah.
So we
I
changed
saw
that.
that as well. I thought it was just, you know, reversal of.
So if that's okay, then
Yeah. Second.
So with that correction, you make that?
so Bob and
All
Evan.
right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to the clerk report. Mary, if you wouldn't mind.
Town clerk's report, July 2017. Community house lease, $1,000. Dog licenses, $50. Building permits, $1,405. Certificates of occupancy, $75. Town clerk fees for vital statistics, $20. Community house donation, $100. And solid waste, $4.50. Total check for the general fund, $2,654.50. Trust and agency, an escrow for $500 and an escrow for another $500. That's for the planning board. Total check for trust and agency, $1,000. Paid to Columbia County Solid Waste, $55.50. Paid to New York State Department of Ag and Markets for dog license surcharges, $20. Total for the month of July, $3,730.
Okay. Motion to accept clerk's report.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mary. Mail review. Do you have anything?
Just one thing. Pine Plains Central School District Board of Education had a special board meeting and appointed Mrs. Jean Staff, S-T-A-P-F, as a member of the Board of Education. And her term, she fills a resignation, so it runs from July 1st until the new election, May 15, 2018. That's it.
Okay. All right, before we get into committee reports, we have to take a quick executive session to discuss personnel matters about the building inspector. I'd like a motion to go into the executive session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Shouldn't take long. Opposed? Carried. Okay, continue on with the committee reports.
Okay, yeah, I just want to mention that the Highway Department did put up a new guardrail on Pleasantville Road. I think they got some extra money that came in from some of the winter damage or something, they used that. They also did see in the paper, and I mentioned to Jimmy, that the FEMA has approved Columbia County or the state for some extra money, but he's got to put in for that. The ball field had dried out before the recent rain, but I'm sure it's wet again, so that's still moving on. You can probably mention that again under old business, the DEC report. The other thing I want to mention was the handicap chair that the Canyon Fellowship bought and had installed over there, and they paid for it, and they also paid for the first year's maintenance. And there was actually some problems with it. One of the things that turned out was batteries got run down because it wasn't used enough, and they get down so far, and so the batteries had to be replaced, and the fellowship paid for that. They would like to have us And since they donated it to the town, they would like to have us, if it needs maintenance again in future years, to cover that under our budget, buildings and grounds, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, is there any, do you guys want to discuss on, is there any objection to that? I mean, I don't personally have a problem with that, they, you know, to pay for the whole thing to be installed and bought it, so I think we can handle maintenance on it.
Confuse myself.
Okay.
Do you know what the cost was for the battery replacements?
The batteries were $90,
Okay.
which they did cover this time, and the yearly maintenance is $110. And the guy actually spent more time than that time, but I think he was on the phone quite a bit with the company, finding out about the unit and the batteries. So he only charged for that $110 fee.
Okay, so the cost of the batteries would be above and beyond the $110?
Yeah,
units? Okay.
yeah.
Do we know how long the batteries generally last?
I think they should last longer, and now that we know that it has to be used, we're going to be running it up and down.
Okay.
See, when it got put in, it was used quite a bit in the beginning, but then one of the people who was using it, they went to another church somewhere, so they're not using it. Another one that was using it passed away.
Okay.
And so they actually, they had a sign up that said no joyrides. Well, they took that down, so they're giving the kids a ride on how to use it.
Do we know how long it sat before the batteries died, or maybe the batteries weren't very good from the start, or?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm just wondering if it just sat like a month and then the battery.
No, it was more than that, I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have no problem with that.
I think there was something happened with the unit that charges them also, so that's why they weren't getting charged. And that was covered under warranty, because that got replaced also. The batteries had gotten worn down.
Okay, so there was a repair done during maintenance? Okay.
Yeah. That was on warranty. But the total bill was $200, which you can't bill should pay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
All right.
The other thing with that, and I don't know if, there was a group that was in there, and they were actually, I think, using that chair. There's a metal plate on the bottom, and there's a seat that comes up that's got metal on the bottom of it. And they were using it kind of like a nutcracker and cracking hard candies. So that got all squished in there, but Bruce cleaned it out. So I don't know, we may want to think about, and I don't know, do we have rules, Mary, that we give to people when they use that?
Yes.
They're
I
supposed to.
mean, they're not that specific.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do something like
Shouldn't
that.
persons with a seat?
I mean, we might.
But we've not had problems where they haven't either corrected an issue,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, the one I remember was when the stairway wall got broken. That was a mistake. And they came over and wanted to pay for it, fix it. but
This
actually
must have
the
been
Gale
kids,
fixed it.
that's the only thing.
Yeah, I
can
think so. Yeah.
figure out,
But we ought to think about that.
It might be worth mentioning to them on people who rent on Saturdays that they just should be cleaned up for the Sunday. So there might have been some thought that, you know, it's getting late and we'll come back and clean up later.
Well, they shouldn't do something like that, though.
But they should.
And I do
Right.
tell them that it has to be cleaned up before they leave. And that's- They may not have seen that.
They may.
Yeah. You never know what kids will get into.
I mean, if it continues to be a problem, what we'll have to do is put in a cleaning fee and make sure it's cleaned after
Right.
somebody uses it. That's what we'll end up doing if it's continuing to be a problem.
Right, I know, I worked at a homeowners association that had a community room that people could rent, and you had to have a certificate of insurance for the day too, that you can usually just do on your homeowners for the day. It doesn't cost anything additional. I think you can even do it on renters. That way, if something happens, it can go in their insurance. Or you can ask people to leave a security deposit too.
Well, let's keep an eye on it,
For
see if
the
it
most part,
continues to be an
it
issue. It hasn't been an
hasn't
issue, but let's see, if it seems to happen more than once or twice here, we'll have to address it. Okay,
Okay. That's it.
all right. Evan, do you have anything to update anybody on?
Let's see.
I didn't give anybody a chance to correspond with web committee, I forgot about that, so we'll take that too, but.
I got one question about how to get to tax information on our website. We have a link that goes to the county website, and the county website.
Could you talk louder, please?
Sorry, yeah. So
I
we,
really can't hear, the reverberations in this room are difficult. It's an old building, so we all would talk loud. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
so there's one question about how to reach tax information on, parcels on the website, and we don't have that directly on our website, but we have a link to the county website, and the county website, when you go there, there's a place to enter a username and password, but there's also a public access, which is not, doesn't always catch your eye, so I gave them some information about how to access that without needing the password. And beyond that, there is a update to the software that we run on the website, so at some point in the next month or so, I'll have to take it down for an hour or two to update the software to the latest version. It's pretty standard, but just a heads up.
Okay.
On a related note, this morning I received an email from Steve Hammer. Louise Colleen had contacted him because the historical photographs had disappeared when we did the update a little bit back. So Steve sent something that I haven't had a chance to look at, but it looks as if he had them all on his computer. So he sent us a link that we can look at that, and hopefully we can use that and get the photos back up on the website.
Excellent.
Yeah, I did look at that briefly, and I was able to view the photos. I don't remember what all the photos were, but
Right.
it looked like it was a fairly substantial list, so
Yeah,
I think
there
that's
was-
all of them.
I would guess there might have been 100.
That could be, I didn't count, but
Yeah.
it was
I
more
didn't-
than 50, I would
Yeah.
say, so.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Good. Let's,
Phyllis has a question.
Sorry. I do have a complaint. There are a lot of good things that are happening in Clermont, and they're not put on the website. I have 3 properties on my road that are being sold, and you meet people looking at them, and I stop, and they stop me, is this the property? And they can't find things on the website. They just can't. The planning board is doing lots of good work, the ZBA is. There was a public hearing. It wasn't on there. People can't get the information. And it seems to be kind of messy to get into it. I know I'm on the web a lot. I do lots of things in this country and even outside the country. But this website seems to be very complicated, and I think it's very important that people know in our community about all the good things that are going on.
Are you referring to like the meeting minutes or?
There aren't things, Chris, that are on there. Public hearings aren't on there. People say, oh, you had a public hearing with the ZBA? People have given up looking at the town board meetings because they're always late. So I'm sorry to make this complaint, but it's what it is.
Okay.
So,
When the town board has a public hearing, and I'm not sure if it's Mary or Evan who posts those do get on. But if the public, or the planning board or the ZBA have hearings, those don't. I'm not sure if
you know
the
what?
way it's set up is that.
The secretaries at both meetings are very competent people. And from what I hear from people in the community, it's not being posted enough. These things should be on the website. I think it has to really be cleaned up. It really does. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know who posts those minutes, and they could have access so that they could do those public
I
hearings.
think right now it's only Mary and I who are doing updates, but we certainly can give a user ID and password so we can
Right,
do more
right.
updates. As to some of the other things that you mentioned, some of them I'm not sure would fit on the website, like mentioning the houses that were for sale on your road, but that would be a good fit for a community site, like I've seen people do with either a Facebook group or a mailing list or something like that. And if one of those was set up, it might be good to put that on the website. People are interested in more community-related happenings.
Is that something that somebody would have to request be put on? Or, I mean, how would we have that information to post it?
Well, I'm not sure that, you weren't asking to have houses for sale on the website, were you? You were just saying that
No,
they were for
my-
sale and you
Excuse me,
talked
my
to them.
statement was very, very clear. 1, good things are happening in Clermont, and they should be on the website. If the town board meeting when you have a town board meeting, sometimes it's late, and I watch the town board meetings on all my equipment, and it's late. And I think that, how do people know what's going on? How many people know that Clermont Day, Community Day, is not gonna happen this year? So, I just think it has to be cleaned up, and it has to be more immediate. And I think that any time any committee has a public hearing, it should be posted immediately, so you know to come, or you know to come. So that's all I'm saying. It's, and this is from outside the community and even inside. And I've given up looking at the town board meetings. And someone here who I like very much said, "Hey, why don't you come to the town board meeting?" I'm here, and I'm making this one complaint.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at that and see what we
Thank
can do
you.
about that.
Sorry to complain, but
All right,
All feedback is good.
that's right. Evan, you have anything else?
I'll have some.
What's that?
He said, I will have some.
You have
on the
some?
Website.
All right, Chris, you wanna?
We were talking about the backstop on the playground, at the new side of the park. And I just wanted to let everyone know, I do have an email out. I think the information we had before is accurate, or close to it, but I did request updated information on, to verify that the cost itself did not change, and if it did, I'd like that information, as well as the shipping costs and lead time to ship when they receive payment, as well as the length of time that shipping would take place, since it's a truck shipment. So as soon as I have that information, I'll update everyone on that.
Good. All right, Dawn, can you please hold comments to the public comments, please? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Dawn?
Okay, last month we spoke about adopting the unified solar permit. And I know Mary sent information to both the zoning and the planning boards for them to review it. I attended both meetings and explained a little bit about what we were trying to do and why we were looking to potentially adopt this permit. And the planning board is going to get back to me with their comments at their August meeting. And the zoning board is not going to meet in August, so I'll go to their September meeting and garner any comments from it there.
And that should be on the website.
We can put that on there, yes.
Should.
Last night was the first meeting of the Village Green Committee regarding the Election Day dinner. We're back to having a ham dinner, and our next meeting for planning is on September 17th at 5:30 at Towsey Winery. Kimberly very generously donated her space. It was nice to be able to go over there and do that. We're always looking for volunteers, so anyone who would like to volunteer, please feel free to come to that meeting, or you can contact me, you can contact Mary, and we'll connect you with any other committee members.
You're gonna have wine tasting, then get a few more
Well,
people.
actually, one thing that did come up, Kimberly did volunteer that if it was something that we would like, she would be willing to serve and, charge for the wine over there, but we would have to do a beer, wine, and liquor permit for the day. So it's $36, and if we chose to do that, she would be willing to work with us on that.
Okay, well, something to consider, obviously.
We usually need to have those permits in about 3 weeks or so before the event, so we have some time to consider it. I mean, she can do the permit too, but they're limited to a certain number per year, so I wouldn't want her to use one of her 6, for an event where she's not going to have very much sales, most likely.
Did you run that by the committee yet or not yet?
No, we did talk
You did
about
talk
this
about it,
last night, and I said that I would bring it up with this board.
Okay. We want a discussion about that at this point? I mean, we don't have,
Haven't we served beer in the past?
not at the election day dinner, I believe.
Oh, no, I thought we were talking about.
No, election day dinner,
okay.
sorry, fine.
Okay, yeah, I confused the.
Glad you mentioned that, Chris.
So, I mean, I personally, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I think it would be nice to have people that have wine with the dinner. I mean, I might draw smart people out, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Should we cover the $36 for the dinner? I mean, that's certainly reasonable.
So, wait a minute, should they vote first and then have the wine?
Maybe, depending on which way they want to go.
If that's the way of getting people to vote, I'm just making a suggestion, a spontaneous suggestion. That they
At the election date.
or voter registration.
Right.
So,
I said you could serve.
Oh,
does anybody have any objections to that?
Should I go on camera?
No, we did talk, just to clarify, we did talk
I don't
about.
know, Phyllis has me thinking now.
Volunteer to do, to bring the stuff over for sale. She's not gonna, I mean, we have 60 people come, it's not like she's gonna make $200 or $500. But it would be nice if someone wanted a glass of wine. Or she can even do beer and cider too.
What's your thoughts? Any objections?
I'm kind of ambivalent on that.
I wouldn't want to cause a persuasion of any type of someone's vote. So now
It might come, I thought Norm was talking about having
yes
the,
myself now.
committee meeting at the winery. That's why I said if they were gonna have tasting there, maybe you might get a few more people out for the committee. That's what, that
Oh.
was my.
I think that's a good idea. You could have the wine tasting first, like Bob said, and then we could all go and vote.
Why don't we look into it and see, let me run it by, see if
Yeah.
there's any chance of any increased liability and stuff like that with it, and we can talk about it next month.
Right.
All right, let's do that.
There might also be some restrictions. I mean, it used to be a practice in certain neighborhoods to have the pub open for,
Right.
We'll take
Yeah,
a
that's
look at
probably,
that.
that's probably not a good idea in election
it's not a
day.
good idea.
Maybe if we have they have other dinners there occasionally.
All right, we'll have a follow-up conversation on that, we'll decide if we want to go ahead with next month. Don't you have any?
The only other thing is that I am moving forward with trying to get replacement signs for the signs that Jimmy did repair in front of the Academy building. And I'm glad that he did, because it might be a little bit more lengthy a process than I thought. That because many of those markers have poor information on, I have to kind of start from the beginning, as I said back in April. And I think I can do the one rather quickly for the Academy. That information we can probably get from the Wilson papers that are at the William Clements Library, I think it is, at the University of Michigan, and we have some copies of stuff here. I think I can do that. But to try and prove that it was the first school in New York State, I don't know. That's maybe a little bit difficult. I need to get a copy of the resolution from 1791 from the New York State Legislature. Maybe if I look at that, it will have something in there that kind of proves it is the first school. So, I can definitely get the resolution and say, and show that a school was built. But I don't know how easy it's going to be to prove that it's the first one. So if I'm able to, the first thing is September 15th, I believe is the date. I have to do a letter of inquiry and submit my primary sources. And then if they accept that, it's about the middle of October that is the application deadline, and they would announce awards at the end of the fourth quarter. So if I can do just one of them, I'll do that, and I'll continue to work on the other.
When you're looking for that resolution, is that a FOIL request? Because you could just ask for
I
all
think
of
I
the...
can go to I'm gonna call the New York State Library, and I think I need to make an appointment, and they'll pull the book out and stuff like that, and I can get a copy. So once I see what's actually in the resolution, maybe it will be helpful. I've been trying to do a search on Google, and there are other things that come up and refer to that as being the date and that the first public school was, but it's not a primary source. It's probably even a tertiary source. So I will continue to work on that. It's been kind of interesting.
So what you're saying is a good thing that Jimmy fixed
Yes,
them, is that
yes,
what he did?
yes.
Okay. I mean, they look very nice right now. Jimmy welded them back up, put them back up, painted them again. The problem is they're so old and brittle that every single year they get knocked off with the snow and broken in different spots, and they're just, how many times can you weld the same sign? So it's time to try to replace them.
Yes.
So, okay, good. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, old business, some updates, DEC update. We had a meeting with the DEC this past month. Again, we tried to figure out how to get them to incorporate the reimbursing us for the engineering fees that we've spent on the entrance to the ballpark field. They are arguing the fact that they don't feel that that should be included. We disagree because we said that's part of the project. So we went back and forth a little bit. He was supposed to take another look to see if he could find a way to include it. I have not got an answer on that as of yet. We expressed our concerns on what was left to do on the field. The silt fence around the perimeter was where it was taken up. There was a little trench left, quite deep, some places 4 to 6 inches deep. So we requested that that be filled in. They were supposed to send the contractor back down to go around the edge, fill that in, and smooth it out. So there's no hazard, no trip to hazard there. We also had a concern with the fact that the clay was not finished spread. That was partially the fault that it was not delivered on time. The contractor bought the clay, had it delivered, and the delivery schedule was a nightmare, as we all talked about for weeks, months. When they finally did get it all here, they already had mobilized their equipment out of here. So DEC would like us to have our highway department finish spreading the clay in the field area. So instead of having it remobilized down here. I don't really have a problem with that if that's going to speed up the process of getting this finished. The biggest problem we still have is the roadway is unacceptable as far as we're concerned because of the fact that the drainage is not working properly. It actually puddles on the driveway when we have a significant rain. It does not disperse off to the sides. There's no crown to the road. So we talked about what options we could go over to fix this, and where we left off is the DEC would like us to get a price on putting a 1.5-inch crowned cap on the actual roadway coming in, additional blacktop put down. They would like us to price it, they're gonna price it and see what the cheapest price would be to do that, and see if that makes the most sense to try to remedy the problem. So where we stand now is he's waiting for me to send them a quote from us, from Colarusso. I think Jimmy's actually working on pricing it and having it priced. Us to send him in the quote, see who comes up with the best price and the remedy, and we haven't done that yet. We're still waiting for the price to come back. We should have it the next day or two. We'll forward that on, and then we'll discuss on how we're gonna finish this up. So as of now, that's about where we stand. We do not have any definite finish date. We are not dispersing any funds yet. We got the bill for the whole project. We haven't paid them nothing, anything except for the $5,000 initial down payment we had to pay. So we owe about $85,000 roughly in change for the total project now. So
And that's not due until September. Right?
and we told them to extend that because we're still working on finishing up the odds and ends. So that's where we stand. Hopefully by next month we'll have a better idea of where we are and what we're going to do to finish up and button up the odds and ends here.
Ray, with respect to the spreading the clay ourselves,
Yes.
is there any monetary advantage that we would get if our town highway does it, since it was in the contract to be done?
I asked that, and basically the answer is no, because if they have to remobilize the people to come down here, it's going to be an increased cost to the state, which is an increased cost to us. So we would have to pay.
So they left and didn't do it, and we would have to pay for them to come back and finish the job that they didn't do?
Yes.
Okay.
Not very,
No,
not very,
Well, that's normal.
not good business, really.
That's always been the deal with the state.
Is it in the contract?
was in the contract for what?
Spreading the clay?
That's part of the cap. It should be done by them, if you ask me, but he's saying no. So, again, if we can get everything else remedied and fixed and satisfied, I don't have a problem with our guys because it's fairly simple to go out there and spread out what's left of the clay. So I'm not gonna fight with them over that simple issue. I'd much rather have them reimburse us the engineering fees, which I'm fighting harder for, but we'll see what happens with that.
I just thought maybe it'd help with a little bit of leverage. We'll do this, but, it was actually in the contract, so maybe it would help as far as leverage goes. I don't know.
The problem is, I don't think there's an issue with him saying, okay, I'll send the contractor back, you're gonna pay more. I think that's what it comes down to. So, I don't think it's any skin off his back. He'll just add it to the price and we'll end up paying more. So I think
So he's
our
not-
bargaining factor is very low, you know,
Yeah, he
so
doesn't sound like he's very liable about the New York State budget either.
I'm not gonna go there.
If they're paying 90% of it,
Not gonna go
if he
there.
has no problem with it, then shame on him.
I agree. So,
Well, they make a good case that they're trying to keep it down.
they make it sound that way, but.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And they still, and to this day, I still have not received the itemized list that I asked for the price on all the disbursements and payments,
You think
which I
they will?
requested again, so we'll see what happens. So it's, again, we're working diligently to try to get this resolved and buttoned up, but it's an uphill battle at this point. We'll see what happens. We'll hopefully have better news next month. Scenic Hudson, I want to update it. This is, everything seems to be going at snail pace. I spoke to Scenic Hudson, as I said last month. I spoke with the lady down there. Waited a week or two, did not get back to me. I actually had some business in Poughkeepsie. I actually stopped into the office, which is like Fort Knox, if anybody's ever been there. I mean, you walk out the elevator and it's all just doors locked. You can't do anything but pick up the phone and call somebody. But anyway, I called and actually was able to speak with somebody and have a brief meeting with a lady named Carly Kernan, and she said she would be the one that would be handling this. She asked, I explained the whole thing to her. Again, went over everything. She said, well, the next thing would be to do is send me a map of the property so I can take a look at it so we can familiarize what's going on, where you are, what you're doing. So I did that following week. I emailed an electronic version of the map to her. She did reply to me a week later. She received it. She said it would be something they can help us out with. It's not typically exactly what they do all the time, but she said they would want to work with the town and help us out. And then she was going to get back to me, which took about another week, believe it or not, and then sent an email saying that she would come out here with her, whoever does the actual site inspections, 2 of them would come out and do a site visit of the site. And that was an email last week I received. I was trying to do it for this past Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, because they said the next 3 weeks, Wednesdays and Thursdays work fine. So I said, I'm available, I'm flexible, please let me know what date works best for you. Well, they didn't get back to me for this week, so I'm assuming, that was for last week, so I'm assuming hopefully this week, I told them any Wednesday or Thursday, I can make it whatever time. So I'm assuming that they'll send me a text, let me know, or an email, and then set up a meeting to go over and take a look at the site visit. Again, we've been waiting to get them involved for screening issues, talk about the paths and all the layouts, what we want to do in this property. So, all I can do is apologize for how slow it's going, for I know some of the patient people waiting to hear about screening, but we are working on it, and we do have them getting involved, and we'll certainly have an update next month. Roof completion, the town hall, obviously, if anybody noticed, if they looked, the town hall roof has been replaced. About 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, they came in and took care of it, replaced it. They did everything except for one thing on the back that I didn't quite have, they didn't quite do what I expect. I had a conversation with them, they came back the following week and completely did it the right way. It was replacing the siding on that upper back facade.
Yeah.
So it has been done, it's been completed to what we wanted, and then with the budget amount, which is in the actual abstract for payment. So it has been completed in a timely fashion. I'd like to thank Jennings Contracting for getting to it and taking care of it and staying within the budget. New business. We have a few different things. I didn't put all of it on here. First thing, building inspector, code enforcement officer. We mentioned last month, I believe, or the month before, that John Feeser is going to be retiring from us, and we were looking for a new replacement. We held interviews 2 weeks ago, last week? 2 weeks ago. Held interviews, we advertised it, didn't have anybody reply. We reached out to surrounding building inspectors, had 2 out of 3 agreed to come in, listen to us, take a look at it. And we ultimately decided, and we're in favor of Sam Harkins from Red Hook. Very knowledgeable, very experienced individual. He's been doing this kind of work for, I believe, 30 years, I think he said, for the village of Red Hook. And he was very anxious and very glad to get involved and help us out and take over the town of Clermont. So what I'd like to do is tonight, We'd like to make the appointment of Sam Harkins starting on August 17th, which is in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, in regards to starting with this position. We are going to have an overlap with our current inspector, John Feeser, for a couple, 3 weeks, so they can interact together, learn all the bookkeeping and secrets here, and then he'll be taking over as far as September 1st on his own. So I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Sam Harkins as the building inspector and code enforcement officer.
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I didn't hear one
Dawn
person.
and then Bob.
Did I say all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry.
Carried. Okay. Okay, we
What
do,
date is he actually starting with?
August 17th, Thursday evening.
Hi. I'm glad.
Can you just hold off? I'm sorry.
On the topic of new business, I just wondered what Sam Harkin's background is. Was he an engineer? Was he in concrete? Is he a builder? Just out of
He
curiosity.
was the building inspector and code enforcement officer for a village of Red Hook for 30 years. He's well qualified. All right, surplus equipment. We have, Jimmy asked us to, he has a piece of equipment he does no longer need. It's a 7-foot Woods brush hog, sitting around, losing value by the day. He does not need it with the new tractor and mowers he picked up. It's just, it's extra, so he wanted us to declare surplus so we can put it on the site to sell it. Any questions?
The new tractor that he's got has the attack.
Actually,
I
has
believe it does.
2. It has a wind mower also, so he can actually 14 foot instead of 7 feet. which is-
Oh, yeah.
So,
Now, that one that he wants to surplus, is that one that he used on the prior tractor?
Yes.
And he doesn't need that as a backup?
He says no. He says just sitting there rotting away. He says, not rotting, but sitting there. He's not doing any good. So.
Okay.
Is that a 3-point hitch or is that like a slide mount?
No, that's a 3-point. That goes on the back.
Okay.
So if anybody has any objections, we'll accept the motion to surplus.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Sales tax revenue. Just want to update everybody. We got our second quarter sales tax check in. It was $90,822.74. That's up compared to last year at this time, about $6,300 more than last year. So the revenues, which we've been talking about for the first part of the year, the sales tax revenue has been running higher than last year, anywhere from 4 to 6%, which is great. Good news for our budget. It's extra revenue above and beyond what we've budgeted. So if this continues, which who knows, it's a crystal ball, but obviously last year was higher than the year before, this year's higher than last year. Everything seems to be creeping up. Sales tax, spending in the county has been higher generally for the past 2 years. So as it continues to go up, we continue to reap the benefits of extra revenue. We're on track for about $40,000 in additional revenue, which is split. So it's about $20,000 for general, $20,000 for highway. We're on track. So again, we're only halfway through. We got a long way to go, but it's in a positive direction at this point. So that's great news.
I just want to throw out a reminder to everyone. Again, I think you've said it before, Ray, is when you buy in the Columbia County, it comes back to the towns. And when you go someplace to shop, whether it be Red Hook, Kingston, or Hudson, if the distance isn't much different, like Columbia County.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because I would say it.
Well, I've heard you say it before, and you didn't say it this time,
Absolutely. It
so.
does make a difference. Yeah.
Has the county thought about or looked at all with the trend going towards people buying online and not paying sales tax that comes to the county? It seems like it's not affecting us at all yet, because it's still going up. I'm just wondering if there's been any look at prediction for the future.
More and more of the websites have changed over to collecting sales tax depending on what state you're in, and I don't know all of it, but I don't think there's been any investigation or looking into it more. But so far, so good for us. I mean, obviously, Columbia County's been doing great. And I'm kind of wondering what the $10 million bump in Hudson's going to do, if that's going to draw some extra revenue as well. So, they had that grant from the state,
Right.
which is amazing, which is great for them. So, again, if they revitalize Hudson, more people come in, spend money, everybody gets a little bit of the pie on that, so. That's great news. We have a budget amendment, which I passed out to everybody when we got here, to move some money around. One is to bring some money over from the appropriated fund balance for the court grant that we received last year, that they're spending this year. The other one was for the building, for the roof, which we did not have budgeted, so we're moving that out of fund balance, we're amending the budget. And the other one was to balance the assessor's line, so. First, budget amendment number 1, 2017, A1110.41, court grant expenditures, increases that to $8,550. And from the appropriated fund balance, A0908, $8,550. Like I said, we're bringing that in. Buildings, A1620.4, we're increasing $14,750. And that's coming out of A0908, appropriated fund balance, $14,750. And then the assessor had a small overage, A1355.4 for the assessor, increasing $350. That's coming out of A1910.4 contingent, $350. Total increase is $23,650, and out of the fund balance, $23,650.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That was just, I know. Okay, the other thing I passed out at the beginning of the meeting was a copy of proposed increases in the veterans exemptions. The county took it upon themselves to do the increase that was allowed under the state as far as increasing wartime and Cold War exemptions for veterans. We currently are at the old rate. Wartime is $24,000. Wartime in combat zone, $24,000 plus 16 equals 40, and a disabled veteran up to $80,000. That's the old rates that we're under. The new rates that the county went up to and would like us to consider adjusting ours to would be wartime $36,000, wartime in combat zone total of $60,000, and disabled veteran up to $120,000. Now, this is something we do not have to do. This is done by town. Generally, most towns do follow along with the county's limits. Just to give everybody an idea, if we do accept and we do go forward with this, it would be a local law, it would be a public hearing. But Suzette gave me, which is the director of real property, gave me the breakdown on a parcel that's assessed for $200,000 in our town. They would have an increase of about 34 cents on our town tax bill for the year. So it's basically non-noticeable, I would think, to most people. And on the county tax, which it's already been done, it's already been accepted in the county tax bill will be about $2.20 more. So the town tax amount for us is very, very minimal. I think, and I've always supported the veterans, I certainly have no problem with this. I think we should bring it up to the same limit as the county. We don't have to make this decision, but if we do decide to go ahead, what I'll do is get the local law drafted for next month. We can review it. We can set the public hearing for the following month. There is no rush to do this because as long as it's done by March, so we have plenty of time to do this. So if we agree to do it, I'll go ahead and draft up the local law and have it ready for next month for review, and we'll set the public hearing for the following month.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Motion second.
They put on here wartime combat and disabled. There's also a Cold War veteran exemption that, I guess that didn't get changed at all?
I know that was mentioned, and I don't see why it's not listed in here, but combat zone, just, yeah, I don't know why that one's not listed. I'm not sure about that. We can find it out for next month if you want clarification on that.
No, I just was curious. I'm going to recuse myself anyway because I am a veteran and I get that discount now, so.
Well, we got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor to proceed and draft up a local law for review?
Aye.
All right. Opposed? I'm going to recuse himself.
Allow this, okay.
Okay. Last thing on the new business would be our next meeting. We have to obviously move, it's falling on Labor Day, so we'll be moving it to the Tuesday, which is in our organizational meeting goes to the following next business day. So Tuesday, September 5th will be our board meeting next month, 7 p.m. Okay, other than that, supervisor's report. I don't have a lot to update people on. The highway department in the county has been very busy. We're actually looking into, again, taking another look at the budget season coming up in the county, doing repairs or possibly even addition to the highway department garage. Once we make a determination, I'll have more information, but we're still looking at this. We've mentioned it several times and we've talked about it. But it really, something needs to be done. The amount of equipment and the amount of work that's being done in that building is very hard. They finally patched the roof so it stopped leaking. It was kind of like our old garage, it just water poured through. So we're looking real hard at that as far as going forward. There is a major project being considered about the Commerce Park, taking the sewer system out of the Commerce Park in Greenport, running it down about 2.5 mile, I think it is, stretch of the highway and tying it into the town of Greenport instead of the actual little substation we have that the county actually owns and operates in the Commerce Park. It's about an $8 million project, believe it or not, but it will be borne on the district itself, so it doesn't affect the overall county taxpayers unless you're in the district. But it is something we're under a court order to remedy, and that's basically what they came up with, the easiest remedy to take care of this problem. Actually, Morris Associates is doing this for the county. We also have decided to buy a parcel in the Commerce Park for the firemen, for a centralized station, if you want to call it, storage station, so they can have meetings, they can do trainings. They're going to move the fire tower down there, so it'll be in Greenport. It's kind of centralized in the county. That has just been approved for, I believe the price was $840,000 to buy the parcel and the 10,000 square foot building that's on it. We negotiated the price down. It was over $1 million, so we felt it was a good bargain. The entire county board has voted on it, I believe, and unanimously approved it. So, or maybe it's coming up for tomorrow or Wednesday night's vote, but it's going to be approved. So that's moving forward, which is going to make the county firemen, every county fireman in the entire county probably very happy. They've been after this for years.
Is it the Commerce Park at 66 and 9?
Yep.
Whichever 9.
9-inch.
And what else? Budget season's coming up for the county earlier than it is here. We're starting our budget meetings this month, actually, in our committees. I said it last year. We were in good shape last year. I disagreed. I actually voted against the budget last year because they increased the taxable values and increased taxes, which I felt was unnecessary. I think we're in even better shape this year, and I'm going to be fighting, obviously, just as hard, if not harder, for a 0% increase on county taxes this year. I have a very hard time raising taxes when you're putting several $1 million into the fund balance, and that's what happened last year, and we're on track to do it again this year. So it just doesn't sit well with me to do that, and I just can't, I can't go along with it. So I will be, fighting very hard to keep the taxes at a 0% for the county, but I'm this big and a mountain this big, so, but I will certainly make my voice heard. Other than that, I don't really have a lot to report on. I just want to say, and we say it just about every month, thank the highway department. I don't think anybody, and as much as we say it, I don't really think anybody knows how much they actually do as far as maintaining and taking care of things. The furnace needed to be cleaned. Jimmy met with a guy, let him in. If there was a problem with it, the breaker over there, he had it replaced or he fixes it. It's just nonstop little things that just add up tremendously and makes it much easier for me, for the board, for the town, and saves a lot of money. So I just appreciate what him and his guys do. And we say it more than enough, but I think we can continue to say it because it's easy to do. So. Other than that, that's all I have. Okay, let's move on to pay abstracts, and then we'll take public comment.
Make a motion that we pay trust and agency Number 7, vouchers 17 through 24, in the amount of $1,048.82.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who seconded? I'm not sure
Carried.
either. Yeah.
I'd like to move that we pay the prepaid general abstract number 8, vouchers number 205 to 211, in the amount of $511.55.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Just in case, this is the second month we've done that, if anybody's wondering what we mean by prepaid, we're paying utility bills ahead of time now so that we don't get late charges anymore, but we still have to approve them on an abstract, but they're actually paid before they're approved, and state law allows us to do that.
I move we pay general abstract 8A, vouchers 205 through 233, in a total of $21,306.10.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Are you using the voucher numbers between the two?
What?
We're using the same voucher numbers between the split abstracts?
Did we?
This is 205 through 233.
205 to 211.
That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be.
We'll change the numbers on the voucher.
Yeah,
The easiest one's probably change it on the
Change
prepaid,
yeah.
which will make them later than.
I can't, well, I'll have to figure it
You
out.
can change those.
Whatever you do. it's fine.
Yeah, I'll figure it
We'll
out.
trust Mary to change those numbers.
So I make a
The amounts
motion,
still change.
yes, that we pay highway abstract number 8, vouchers number 80 through 94, in the amount of $41,743.19.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's it, right? That's it, okay. Okay, public communications, comments to the board. I'll take any comments to the board.
Yes.
Could you just step up there, please?
With or without the hat?
Without.
Okay.
The hat comes with her.
Okay, just a few things. There are many signs up in the park, and there should be an additional sign. There's one sign that says no smoking, there's another sign that tells you what the use is for the swings, but there should be another sign that says no alcoholic beverages, no bike riding, no loitering after a certain hour, and that should be there. It's a public space.
Have you witnessed problems of people doing these things?
No, but I still think there should be a sign there.
No bike riding?
Well, I think motorcycle, bike,
Oh,
big,
motorized, okay.
yeah, things
Okay.
like that.
Did we talk at one point about rules of the park and putting a sign?
Did discuss
We
drones
did,
at
we
one point.
discussed it, and the intent was that once we get the rest of the park put together and make one set of rules for all, but you're right, Phyllis. we should-
Because it's coming, the kids grow up, they become, right,
What is
And
on the
then-
big sign that says rules, oh, it's next to the swing set there?
yeah.
That's rules for using the swings, and
Yeah,
some of them may appear to be generalized, but they're specifically, with the swings.
And then there's a rule for no smoking, but I'd like to go on very, very quickly. I'm sorry.
Add to Evan's questions. Sarah Takas, just standing next to Phyllis. No, just saying
Okay.
that. Because you asked, I clean up beer bottles, beer cans, and there are often, not often, but there are cars that stop there and I have no clue what they're doing, after dark and stuff like that, because I sometimes walk up to neighbors and stuff, so it's probably good to have rules and be clear. It's cool to pick up bottles. Give me 5 cents per bottle.
Thank you, Sarah, that was great.
So that,
Yeah, but this happens in parks. Okay. My second point is that in Clermont, on Route 6 between 9 and 9G, there's a very old building that has been there for a long time. I don't know who owns it. It looks as if there's been a fire there. That building is going to fall down. And I hope I'm not driving past it. It's a lovely road. That's where the bison are, Bison Farm. Then on 9 and Pleasant Vale Road, there's a woodworking shop. They have they had a fire. It's been over 3 years. Over 3 years, and the burnt out building has not been taken away. There should be, this should be included in the zoning laws. There's a certain period of time.
There
I don't know
actually
what's
is.
in the buildings.
There actually is, it is in the code, and he's been notified approximately a month ago, he has 60 days to get it down.
Good, but there should be something, instead of just sending the new person out there, there should be something in the zoning laws that say you have to take it down within a certain period of time. Okay, because we don't know what's in the buildings, and they can be quite dangerous. And then there's, I think, a third thing. It's a minor thing, but, I love garage sales, but I think that, after your stuff doesn't sell, I think it shouldn't be out there for like a month or a month and a half. I think there should also be an ordinance that says clean it up and take it back in. Unless you want to contact me personally, I'll see what you're... Thank you.
Is there one in particular that you're referring to?
It doesn't make any difference. I just think a lot of this happens where people leave it out for a long period of time. And they shouldn't. It's trash. We all have trash. Take it to the town dump. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? You gonna speak?
I have a recommendation for something I hope you'll take to the county highway department. I believe it's County Route 14, it goes from 31 west to 9G.
Okay.
Right before the intersection, because there's been accidents there. There's a hump in the road. So on this side of the hump, there's it's a faded sign that indicates that there's an intersection at 9G there.
That's a simple fix.
Yeah.
Okay, I can certainly follow up on that. That's easy. All right. Anything else? Any other questions, comments, complaints? Nothing? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.